Stephen, thank you very much for joining us. There are lots of developments in the sector. If we can start off with this COVID-19 passport, very much debated early on as to whether technology could allow the industry to keep on operating. What are you hearing on this front, and is there any light at the end of the tunnel for some of these operators?
Absolutely, technology can have a role. I think it's important that, the industry really needs to be at a point where these quarantines can be removed and people can start getting back traveling, maybe with testing, with a biometric, with a passport. That is certainly one solution, kind of a bridge before you get to a vaccine. But clearly, as you've seen in many commentary, EasyJet this morning, IATA and others, the industry is burning cash on a daily basis and is really at the epicenter of the storm here.
To me, what jumped out around this testing, COVID tests and having some sort of passport was that it could bring back some of the longer haul travel. I mean, through this crisis, we've seen shorter routes being favoured for those that are travelling, but there was some suggestion that if these COVID tests and a passport comes into the mix, that London to New York could be restored. What do you make of that if it happens, and the impact on profitability for the sector?
Yes, I would agree. I mean, we would feel that your point there, that leisure short haul is going to recover first, beyond long haul, and corporate travel will be later recovering. But I think it's very crucial for the UK and the industry that Heathrow to New York starts opening up. And I know that if you look at Heathrow have testing facilities kind of ready to go. But I think that's a very important market. The transatlantic market, it's very important, and particularly from a stock perspective for IAG, for example, who've just completed the rights issue. So, I think it would be very helpful, and the sooner the better.
We've seen a lot of appetite for travel and leisure stocks today, and some of this being driven by talk of more support for the American airlines at this point, the carriers that have been hard hit. How do we think about that on this side of the pond? Because, it could have the ramification of widening out the divide on the amount of stimulus that American carriers receive versus European ones that are fighting over jurisdictions and various governments, depending on where they sit fiscally. So how do we think about it on this side of the world?
Well, the way I think about it, it's kind of like there are very few airlines that have a credit rating now, or even there's only 4 in the world that have an investment grade rating. So like getting stimulus, getting liquidity, ultimately, you don't want a capital structure that is entirely indebted, basically. So I think you want, really what governments can do over here is, like the EU, have this traffic light system to open up markets. They need to open up markets, and the airlines will need to start getting passengers traveling, and then we get into a situation where you have positive cash flows. So I think it's actually testing passports, opening up the markets is the key thing, and not just piling on debt. But your comment about different airlines, there's definitely going to be winners and losers. And we feel that there will certainly be a more consolidated, concentrated market post this pandemic in Europe. The US is much more concentrated, and there's certainly going to be failures, and cash flows are weak at this point in time, particularly in the winter.